Scientists say that the average person consumes about 7 kilos of noodles annually. We're about to completely ruin that number. Today we're bringing you 4 noodle recipes, and each one has been specifically designed to sabotage your self-control. 4 recipes, 1 video. Regrets? I doubt it. First up, Red Hot Ramen. Now this video was viewed by over 7 million people, which is the entire population of Hong Kong. That's a lot of people. So let's see why this video was so wildly popular. That is sexy food right there. George, do you reckon food can be sexy?
Yeah, boy.
You heard it here first. Every good soup needs a good topper. Definitely needs a good topper. And this one is topped with mushrooms. And not just any mushrooms though. This one is topped with royal mushrooms. King oyster mushrooms to be precise. For me, king oyster mushrooms are called king oyster mushrooms because they are the best. So the technique here is really quite simple. You just pull the stems, cover with a little soy sauce, a bit of ketchup mayonnaise, and a little bit of liquid smoke, and you just toss it all to combine. Now, liquid smoke is literally like bonfire in a bottle. And once you've got a pot of it in your cupboard, you'll find yourself using it again and again. So I would definitely recommend you get some because it's truly delicious. The base of this soup is, well, what can you say? Aromatic central, really. Chili crisp, ginger, garlic, spring onions, and this is a good tip. When you're buying chili crisp, always look for Sichuan peppercorns in the ingredient list because it will give you that numbing sensation, which is so satisfying. Now for a little bit of colour, a little bit of flavour and depth, and we're getting that from that gochujang. Oh, gochujang's so good. We've got a bit of miso paste and we've got some soy sauce, but you must go easy with these, right? Because once you've got them in, they are impossible to take out. Too much will dry your tongue out, kind of like well-salted garden slug. To get the soup soupy, we've got full-fat coconut milk and we have got vegetable stock. Now, full-fat coconut for me is great because it gives a lovely silky, buttery texture. Gets it going, will get you going. It's gone. You got to ladle that broth over those cooked noodles, load it up with the mushies, look at how good they are, and then drizzle over a little cream, dress with some sesame seeds, a few spring onions, and there you go. Let's have a little look at the nutritional highlights. 550 calories, which is very good. It'll keep you nice and full, and it's a good substantial noodle dish. We've got 15 grams of protein, which is good for getting jacked. 6 grams of fiber, which is really good for your gut. And then we've got healthy fats from the coconut milk, and we've got a good dose of antioxidants too. All in all, that is a very well-rounded dish, and I would strongly recommend that you make Red Hot Ramen because it is very delicious. I mean, you can make it for your missus, you can make it for your mister, you can make it for your kids if you're minus some of the chili, and you're all going to have a wonderful noodly time. It's going to be very, very slurpable. Talking about slurpable, let's talk about butternut squash noodles. Now this one is a super creamy dish that got over 1.7 million views on our social media channels, which is an awful lot of views. And I remember everyone in the BOSH office when we made this loved this dish, and we should have made more of it. And when you make it, you should probably just double it up because why not? Right, so the base for this one is simple but very, very effective. You just take a butternut squash and you peel it, and then you chop it into pretty small chunks, about an inch or so. Whack them into a baking tray with some shallots, a whole bulb of garlic, and then you just roast them for about half an hour until everything's really soft and jammy. And once it's all cooled down, pop them into a blender along with a can of coconut milk and just blitz it until you've got a really nice, smooth, silky, soupy base. And now for some flavour. So we've got some huge lump of peanut butter. They get some red Thai curry paste. And once those two have loosened up in the pan, it is definitely time to introduce that wonderful butternut squash puree. We're going to add in a little bit of citrus to cut through the creaminess and complement the Thai paste. I'm using lime. You could use lemon if you want, but lime is definitely better. Is noodle time. Now, you can use any noodles you like, but our preferred noodles are ramen noodles because they're cheap, they're cheerful, and they are very, very slurpable. I fold the noodles through the sauce, bowl it up, dress it up with a little chili crisp, some sesame seeds, some chopped spring onions, and there you go. To be honest, you're probably going to need chopsticks and a spoon, but it's well worth it for this dish. So, nutritional highlights. We have 550 calories, which is very good. It's going to fill you up nicely and you're very, very satisfied. Then we've got 10 grams of protein. You could up the protein if you wanted with some crumbled tofu or a bit of nutritional yeast, which is great for adding protein in something like this. Then we've got 6 grams of fibre. Again, if you wanted more fibre, you could maybe put on some griddled broccoli or something like that. And I would say that this dish is exceptionally comforting, beautifully delicious. It really is a total bowl of goodness, and probably going to want to make it again and again. So let's get into the next one. Singapore style noodles. Me, oh my. Now this one is a super Moorish dish, and I remember it well. It was really, really good, and a dish I make at home all the time. So you should definitely give this one a whirl. It is delicious, and it's actually a really good source of protein because of the tofu. The flavour makers for the tofu are soy sauce and sriracha. Toss the crumbled tofu in the mixture that you've just made, making sure it gets deep into the crumbly cracks, and you roast until they're completely cooked through. That should take about 25-30 minutes. Now, tofu is literally one of the best ingredients going. Henry went deep on tofu on another video, so go and check that one out because it's well worth a watch. One of the best ways to ensure success when making stir-fry type dishes like this one is prep. Finely slice onions, mushrooms, spring onions, grate your garlic and ginger. And once you've prepped your veggies, you are almost done. Well, kind of almost done. You've still got to cook everything. But before you cook everything, we've got to hydrate our vermicelli noodles. And then we've got to add a little bit of freshness and a little bit of flavour. We've got turmeric and we've got chili flakes. Now we're going to get those noodles in there, give them a toss. We're going to twirl them out of the pan. We're going to whack on those tofu crumbles, hit it with some spring onions and a bit of lime juice, and then we're going to get stuck in. Very, very simple, very, very effective, and very, very delicious. And now let's check out some nutritional highlights. We have got 520 calories. We've got 16 grams of protein, which is a decent amount of protein for a noodle dish. We've got 6 grams of fibre. Again, you could up that with something like broccoli or even more mosh too if you wanted to. And what you've got there is a lovely, quick, well-balanced meal that will feed you and feed your partner and feed your family or whoever you make it for. Now, let's get on to the last video. Carrot and coriander noodle soup. Now, the idea for this dish came from a desire to noodleify traditional carrot and coriander soup. And I would say that the noodleification of this dish went very, very well. Like most of our noodle soups, the base is very simple, but very, very effective. It's garlic, it's ginger, spring onions, and it's chili. It's the awesome foursome of noodle soups. Once you fry them off and you've got your kitchen smelling good, it is miso time. Once your miso's in, cook your carrots into chunks, bang them in there. No need to pre-boil because the pre-boil happens in the pan. And we're going to pre-boil with coconut milk for creaminess and vegetable stock, and then we're just going to let that simmer. Pass me the geese to my bimmer. And it's going to cook down carrots nicely, which will get them easy to blend. Now, if you've got a high-speed jug blender, lucky you. But if you don't have that, but you do have a bullet blender, that will work just fine. Please, whatever you do, blend your soup when it's at room temperature. Because if you put hot liquid inside a bullet blender and turn it on, it can explode. So please don't do that. Now, once the soup is souping, finish it off with some flavour. We've got rice wine vinegar for some high notes and soy sauce for some low notes. And now for some noodles. Cook them, whack them in a bowl, ladle over the soup, top with some roasted carrots, which are seasoned with ground coriander, drizzle in some cream, drizzle over some chili crisp, sprinkle over some spring onions and some sesame seeds, and there you go. Carrot and coriander soup, noodleified. Now, let's have a look at some nutritional highlights. We have got 400 calories, which is actually quite light. We've got 10 grams of protein, not the highest, but pretty decent. We have got 10 grams of fiber, which is, again, pretty decent for a noodle dish. And it's rich in vitamin A from all of those lovely orange carrots. And if you were to listen to my grandmother, God rest her soul, she would say, very good for your eyes too. Now, I really enjoyed this dish. I thought this dish was delicious. And this dish proves that basically any traditional soup can be noodleified with not that much hassle. And there you go, 4 fantastically comforting noodle dishes that I sincerely hope that end up in your plate at home, or your bowls at home for that matter. Do us a favour, if you like the video, give it a like. If you like the channel, subscribe, and let us know what you think about it in the comments below. These videos are quite new to us, and we really want to make them as good as we possibly can for your viewing pleasure. So give us some hints, give us some tips, give us some feedback in the comments below, and we shall see you again next time.